Hi, I'm Dana Schwartz, and this is Rise or Die, the official companion podcast for Peacock's original series, Those About to Die. On this podcast, I go behind the scenes with the show's cast and creators to learn how they brought their brutal vision of Rome to life. I talked to acclaimed director and executive producer Roland Emmerich.
When I saw the first race, I was like giddy.
Actor Ewan Ryan.
For an actor, that's a dream, although you do get a lot of sand in your sandals.
And so many more.
You helped summon those ghosts back onto that stage.
Every day when I went to set, I was giggling about what I saw.
I think it's going to be a breathtaking thing.
People will freak out.
Rise or Die launches on July 18th. Watch or listen wherever you get your podcasts.
Finding a new podcast to listen to is easy. Finding a good new podcast, that's a little tougher. So let me recommend one. It's called Something You Should Know. If you like fascinating information you can use in your life from some of the top experts in the world, you're going to like Something You Should Know. I'm the host, Mike Carruthers, and recently we've covered topics like the benefits of laughing, the science of dreaming, where your deep desires come from, even how to make the perfect burger. We produce 3 episodes a week, and each episode is packed with rock-solid intel that will make your life better. And we have a lot of fun doing it. Something You Should Know has been ranked on the Apple Podcast charts every day for over 7 years. A lot of people like this podcast, and you will too. Listen to Something You Should Know wherever you get your podcasts. Look for the bright yellow light bulb on the blue background. It's Something You Should Know.
Welcome to Buffy the Vampire Slayer, a podcast where we're watching and discussing every episode of Buffy the Vampire Slayer one by one. I'm Jenny Owen Youngs.
And I'm Kristin Russo, and this week we'll be talking about Season 1, Episode 3, Witch.
Stay tuned at the end of this podcast every week for an original song written by us recapping the Buffy episode we're discussing. Now, before we get started talking about this week's episode, I just want to read a very helpful email sent in by a listener regarding something we talked about last week, which was, why does Buffy have a canister of communion wafers in her vampire weapons trunk?
Right.
Okay, so David Bates writes to us, "Hey, I'm currently walking across Spain doing the Camino de Santiago, and I just listened to the second episode of your podcast where you expressed surprise at Buffy's possession of consecrated hosts. This actually has some tradition in vampire lore. You find them used in some movies, but more importantly, please see the attached screenshot from the text of Bram Stoker's book Dracula, where you also find them mentioned. The overall idea makes sense in that vampires are repelled by things which are purifying, e.g. garlic, and holy, e.g. crosses. The Eucharist is both. In fact, there is quite a nice bit of irony that vampires, creatures which survive by feeding off the flesh and blood of their victims, are repelled by the flesh and blood of Christ. Hope this clears things up. Buen camino, David. Hashtag Team Giles."
Wow. Wow.
Pretty great, right?
That's amazing.
Yeah, that was so helpful.
That is like, that's so cool on so many levels. It reminds me of when I first went back to grad school, I didn't know exactly what I was going to be studying. And I thought, I know what I'll do. I'll put my focus on religious studies and gay studies. I wanted to kind of like combine religion and homosexuality into some kind of master's degree. And I found out really quickly that getting a degree in religious studies is tricky when you have no background knowledge. And I feel like that's a great underlining of that point.
Right.
Because it reminds me of, I took this course on sacrifice once, and like, yeah, it was really good. But some of that stuff talking about like the purity and like the flesh and blood and all of that like mythology is really cool. I love that. I love that. And I love that we have listeners that are, like armed with this knowledge that can help us better suss through all of these things.
Yeah, that was so great. Thanks so much for writing in, David.
Yeah, happy walk. I think that of all the methods of vampire warding off, that might be my new favorite because it carries so much meaning in it.
Yeah.
So much going on there.
And they probably have a longer shelf life than garlic.
Yeah, that's true. Well, we still need to know if vampires are repelled by rotting garlic.
Yeah, is garlic still purifying if it's
old?
Right. Well,
anyway.
These mysteries and more will no doubt be solved at some point in the future. But for now, let's talk about this week's episode.
Woo!
Yeah.
Well,
so
let's talk about the title.
Witch.
Let's talk about witches.
Let's.
Just for like a second. Okay, or the whole episode.
Probably both.
Right. You know how I feel about witches.
I do.
But audience at home, maybe you don't know. I love a witch. This is a bad witch. I'll give it that. But I do really enjoy witchcraft. Growing up, when I was in high school, wanted to be a witch. I tried so hard to do all the things that witches were supposed to do.
You also kind of wanted to be a vampire.
Yeah, but I didn't really do anything to try to be a vampire.
Except the custom molded fangs.
Yeah. Right, those. But I was more like, I was just really obsessed with anything in that world, anything in that culture of like vampires and witches. Mm-hmm. Actually, that's not true though, because like I wasn't really that into werewolves. I wasn't that into other demons, but witches and vampires have kind of been like a mainstay of, I think like teenage pop culture forever, since the 90s at least.
Sure.
And so at the time, what was the series of books that I was obsessed with? The Vampire Diaries?
Right.
I read those, and I was super into them, and I used to read a ton of Anne Rice. Mm-hmm, probably not comparable volumes of work, but I just like vampires. But then I got into this series by the same author called The Secret Circle.
Ah, yes.
And that was about a coven of witches, and that was it for me. And so me and my friends bought all these books, and we got all these crystals, and then The Craft came out. It was like a great time to be into witches. And then now I kind of think that I am a witch a little bit.
Right.
Not using any crystals or casting any spells, but I do feel a bit of a connection to that like power.
You do seem to come across information you really seem to have no right to on a pretty regular basis, just like intuitively.
Yeah, it's a little scary. Or not. I mean, I think it's interesting because like when I was younger, I was super like into it, but then also very afraid of it. You know, whenever like my friend Leah at the time, the two of us would like, do spells or try to do spells.
Wow.
And like call on the powers of earth, water, fire, and air.
Can you remember like a spell that you guys tried to do?
No, I remember calling on the 4 elements.
And then Captain Planet appeared?
But it wasn't the kind of thing, like we never tried to like cast a spell on somebody. I think we were trying to like talk to spirits or I think we were trying to like communicate or things like that. But I was very scared. So like I would freak out halfway through the spell and be like, I don't want to do it anymore.
Sure. Sensible. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I still feel like that because I believe in it enough to be afraid of it.
Smart.
Anyway, not to fall too deeply down the witch hole, but yeah, I was excited going into this episode because it's called Witch.
All right. Well, that is a spectacular foundation, a personal foundation you just set up for us. I don't really have any personal connection to witchery.
But you must have liked witches.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, I think with all of this, like, I was super into like werewolfy, vampire-y, witchy, any sort of magical, mystical stuff growing up and in high school. And I mean, I just feel like it's a great, easy, sort of other metaphor. Mm-hmm. And also the sort of like Harry Potter vibe of like, what windows of possibility open when one more dimension is added to the reality that we understand. Very
deep.
Is it?
Well, yeah. There's just another level. But you never wanted to be a witch.
Probably if you had asked me, I might have told you I wanted to be a wizard.
Oh, excuse me. Do you find witch to be a gendered term?
Yeah, gendered and also like somehow not as like majestic as a wizard. Now, is that the patriarchy working
I think
within
that's,
me?
and there
Oh,
it
dear.
is, folks. We have said it one time in this episode. We're trying to say, right? Patriarchy once per episode.
I think that's the rule.
Yeah, that's the rule. So a successful episode already within the first 2 minutes. But yeah, I mean, I think a witch and a wizard. I think a witch and a wizard is the same thing.
Well, when you think about common depictions, right? You think of a wizard, you see a dude in a robe with a long beard. He's studious. Maybe he has glasses. He's very powerful and also very studied. And witches, we often see as hag-like, green of skin, long
I don't
in the
know what
nose.
kind of witches you've been hanging out with.
Mostly Halloween witches.
Yeah.
No, I mean like Nev Campbell and company are super hot witches, but I don't think when you say think of a witch, most people would think of The Craft. I think most people would think of like a stereotypical Halloween witch.
Oh, really?
Or
Maybe
the Hansel and Gretel witch, you know?
Maybe I'm so far off the path now and surrounded by so many witches that it would never occur. Like, I just feel like thinking of a green woman with a big nose and a wart is so passé.
I guess I'm pretty passé. Also, I really hope I'm not offending any of our witches out there. I just, you know,
No, I mean, this is something that they have to grapple with every day of their lives.
unfair stereotypes of the witch community.
And what I thought you were going to say was that the wizards were like studious, like portrayed as studious, while the witches were often portrayed as like emotional and whatever. I was like ready to launch into.
I feel like they're often portrayed as like monstrous. And I mean, that's, I feel like comes maybe from the same place, like stories created.
Yeah, no, you're right. You're right. Going back into like lore.
Right.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Anyway, this has been a long and winding road, and I hope that we haven't offended anybody. If you happen to identify as a magical person, apologies for any unintentional wounds we may have.
Got to talk about the history. You know? I mean, it's important. Anyway.
So about this episode.
How about the first moment of this episode?
It's so great.
It really is.
Giles is beside himself.
He's so upset. And he, you know, and it's like a really nice edit, the way that they do this, where we're like, what has Buffy done? I mean,
What could she have possibly done?
Giles is so up. We've never seen this British man so worked up.
Yeah, it's like he's not angry, he's disappointed, but also he's angry.
Right, yeah. And then there she is.
In her little cheerleading outfit.
In her she's just a cheerleader, guys. She just wants to be a cheerleader.
She just wants to be a nice, normal girl engaging in nice, normal girl activities.
She does, but Giles is not having it. Giles has so many hateful moments toward cheerleaders in this episode.
Hateful, and also like he just doesn't understand it. He can't get his head around it.
But I think there's like a serious bit to this scene too, which isn't made serious here. But Buffy says like, you know, I'm doing this because I want to do something normal, something that's safe. Which, first of all, then it cuts right to like womp womp womp.
A spooky cauldron full of green stuff.
Right. So
and so many haunted herbs.
So like poor Buffy. She's like,
nowhere is safe for a Slayer.
No, she just wants a little break. She wants an escape.
She can't have it.
She can't. This is the Hellmouth, people, where even cheerleaders go down in literal flames.
There are no days off on the Hellmouth.
No.
So we go from somebody casting some spells in an attic to the credits, and then we come back from the credits, and Buffy, Xander, and Willow are in the gym at tryouts.
Yes, a fantastic scene.
The first shot, I believe, is shot through the legs of a woman who is doing a lunge.
Yeah.
So enjoy that. And then we see another woman doing a split on chairs, which seems like an impractical thing. I think that's really just for the script.
She's a show-off. She's a show-off, that girl.
Like, why wouldn't you just do a split on the floor? I guess you get like a little bit more of a stretch, but...
Yeah, you can get more of a stretch hanging from two chairs, but I think she needs to calm down a little bit.
She might need to calm down. You know who doesn't need to calm down is Cordelia and her star-spangled sports bra.
Yeah, I agree. Also, I think Cordelia is the only person in the entire gym that's not wearing that's trying out, who's not wearing the yellow shirt.
Yeah.
She's like fully wearing a sparkly sports bra, which looks fantastic. Go Cordelia.
Yes.
Go.
I hope she wears many more sports bras.
She wears another one before this episode is even over.
Wow.
There's a black one with silver piping.
Oh dear.
Don't worry, I took Cordelia sports bra notes.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, I think you might have been going here too. Can we talk about Amber for a second?
Yeah, first of all, let's just take note that when they're talking about Amber and Cordelia is like, ugh, what does she think she is, a Laker girl? And of course, this is delightful because Charisma Carpenter, who plays Cordelia, was a cheerleader for the San Diego Chargers for a time. So that is very special.
A little tongue-in-cheek.
Yes.
From Miss Charisma Carpenter.
And then the next thing we need to talk about with Amber is like, what is that audition routine? They build her up. She trains with this trainer and she's amazing. And she maybe turned the Lakers down. And then she opens with that like spin.
It's a very weird thing that she does.
It's neither particularly cheerleady nor particularly impressive.
No, it kind of reminds me of a non-impressive version of when you're watching the gymnasts at the Olympics and they do that like dance. There's that dance thing that they do. Sometimes they do it with a ribbon and sometimes they do it without.
Yes.
It was like something like that, but not
Olympic quality.
Not Olympic quality. But it was just bizarre. I guess they needed her, like, just from a directorial standpoint. They had to like build up to the moment in which her hands set on fire.
Yay!
So they must have just been like, I don't know, just do something. And that's what she came up with, or whatever.
You don't think that was choreographed?
No, it was very, very choreographed, as a matter of fact. No offense to you, choreographer. It was 1997, you know?
We were all different then.
It was a different time. But yeah. And who plays Amber? Who is that person and where is she now? That's what I would like to know.
We should look her up. Witchery.
What? What did you find?
Buffy Wikia says that Amber Grove was portrayed by an unknown actress.
Wait, like, so there's no record of who this person is?
On the website that I have chosen to look, there is no record.
Fascinating.
And you would think that the Buffy Wikia would be pretty thorough.
Yeah.
Also, this is great. Amber is said to train with a coach named Benson.
Uh-huh.
Amber Benson is the actor who plays Tara. Starting in season 4.
I got very weird feelings all through my body.
Yeah, this is a very... How witchy is this? So witchy.
What?
Yeah.
I feel crazy right now.
Mm-hmm.
I'm really glad we looked that up for so many reasons. We should do post-episode, maybe we should do a little bit more hunting for who this person is, because now I'm spooked.
Yeah,
An
maybe
unknown actress.
she was just a projection of our fears and weaknesses.
Maybe she was so embarrassed by her routine that she had her name scratched from the record. Anyway, something that I wanted to talk about, well, you know, before we get too deep into the episode, I just want to say that this is our first episode after the pilot. And something right. And this is like, this episode has how many vampires, Jenny?
0 vampires.
0. It's called Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
0 vampires, episode 3 / episode 2, if you consider the first 2 episodes, which are a 2-parter pilot.
Which is pretty rad, because it's sort of, you know, it's saying like, hey, P.S. new viewers, this shit ain't gonna just be about vampires.
Yeah, we're not just one thing.
Yeah.
It's pretty rad. Mm-hmm. Also, no bronze.
Yeah, we were missing a lot of
Angel,
right?
Yeah, some serious touchstones not present.
Not present, but we have to learn all sides to the Hellmouth.
Right.
So go ahead. Jenny's eyes got very big.
Well, on that tip, oh my goodness, has anyone ever been more excited than Giles is about spontaneous human combustion occurring? He is so pumped. That's the thrill of living on the Hellmouth, he says. It's a veritable cornucopia of ghouls and goblins and so on. And he's like lost in a dream state. And everyone's like, And then he's like, well, pardon me for seeing the glass half full. So great. So great.
Yeah, Giles really gets into it this episode. It's like Giles just realized that the series gets to continue. And he's like, yes, I get to do so many things. So yeah, he's all sorts of excited. And not to mention our team here gets a name.
They name themselves
the Slayerettes.
Oh, it's so nice.
It is so nice. And they really do some stuff in this episode.
They really participate.
They show, I'm going to get to some of Willow. There's a moment at the end that Willow really gets me. But I think that they're really starting to come into their own. I mean, we're only on, episode 3, but 2. In the time span of things. And they're already kind of getting some feet underneath them.
Yeah.
In order to pick up the slack. And in this episode, they really have to because Buffy is taken out.
Hell yes.
But before we get to Buffy getting taken out, can we talk about the fact that I recognized Cordelia as her doll self before her name was even spoken? Because I love you, Cordelia, so much. And I always am looking out for you. And before that witch was like, blah, blah, Cordelia, plunk into the slime.
You called it.
I did call it. I was like, that's my Cordy. And
oh, my word.
Don't mess with her. But oh boy, does she get messed with.
She sure does.
She sure does. So this spell happens to her. She's banging around inside of the school, just not knowing where anything is.
Oh.
And then I'm very upset about the part where she says, like, I don't want to drive. And the teacher is like, get in the car. Because, like, she tries.
Messed up.
Yeah.
She's doing her best.
So anyway, Cordelia goes blind and almost gets hit by a UPS truck.
Yeah, was the UPS driver also suddenly struck blind, perhaps?
I know. The unmarked brown truck driver.
Right, we can't say for sure
we don't know
company that was.
Yeah, it could have been FedEx for all we know. But yeah, the truck comes, it's so far away from her. It comes barreling down the road at her. And just to say, I don't want anybody to think I've forgotten about looking for the moment of most sexual tension. I haven't forgotten it, and I almost gave it in the first moments to Amber and Buffy.
Oh, and the putting out the fire with the old torn down gym banner.
The old wrapper in a banner trick. I thought that was, there was something special.
You're okay.
Yeah. There was something special there. But then, lo and behold, Buffy leaps out, grabs Cordelia, and they tumble together to
safety.
To safety, to breathless safety in each other's arms. So they won. They win. I named them.
They win again.
They win again. Yeah, this is 2 out of 3 for them. Yeah. So that's. But hey, Cordelia goes blind. Like her eyes are not showing in her head.
Correct.
And then we cut away, and we never hear about her. And like nobody ever says like, well, Cordelia was taken to the hospital. Well, Cordelia is with her family. Well,
yeah, it's just like, oh, we should get Buffy a glass of water because she's really freaked out. But she can still see with her eyeballs.
I know. So Cordelia, who knows where she goes from the time, from her blindness to when the spells are undone. We don't know what happens to her or the girl who's...
Oh my gosh, with no mouth.
The girl whose entire mouth is covered. That's a freaky visual effect.
Yeah, much more disturbing than blindness. Support for today's episode comes from OneSkin. And if you have sensitive skin, you're going to want to hear about their scientifically proven topical supplements. Free from over 1,500 chemicals and preservatives that can make skin red, irritated, or itchy, their products are safe for sensitive skin. It's just one of the reasons they've earned the Skin Safe seal of approval.
They've also earned the Jenny Owen Youngs and Kristin Russo seal of approval, if I do say so myself, Jenny.
I couldn't agree more. I've been using OneSkin for a few months, and after a few weeks, I remember it like it was yesterday. I texted Kristen and I was like, maybe she's born with it. I looked in the mirror that morning and was like, oh, things are happening. And I am happy.
I have used a million billion skin products, and I did not think that I was going to switch off of the skin like lotion, the moisturizer that I used and the under eye cream that I used, because I have used them for a little while and I really like them. And I've switched completely, which is a pretty big deal. OneSkin is the world's first Skin Longevity Company. By focusing on the cellular aspects of aging, OneSkin keeps your skin looking and acting younger for longer. Get started today with 15% off using code BUFFERING at oneskin.co. That's 15% off at oneskin.co with code BUFFERING. After you purchase, they'll ask you where you heard about them, and if you can, please tell them that we sent you. But like, way to go, everybody making that concoction to spill on the witch.
Oh, in science class with Eye of Newt?
Yeah.
Listen.
Yeah, I'm listening.
Can I tell you something?
Please.
Buffy has a troll pen. Buffy has a troll pen. Buffy has a pen with a little troll doll on top of it. Its hair is sticking up, and she's twirling its hair around when she goes to very unsmoothly grab some hair off of Amy's hairbrush.
Yeah. It's very 90s of her. Did you have any trolls in the 90s?
I had a troll because I wanted to fit in, but
It's just one. just your badge.
bare minimum troll requirement, but I always thought they were super weird.
Yeah, they were pretty creepy.
Yeah.
I had one too, I think. But my sister had like a collection of trolls.
So if a circumstance ever came to pass that brought all troll dolls to life and they were evil, you would have been in a bad position.
Oh, what a horrible... Did you think about that a lot?
No, I just thought about it now.
God, it's so awful. Yeah, we would have been... The Russo household would have been out. Too many trolls. Same with Beanie Babies if they ever came to life. Allison had way too many of those.
Oh, dear.
Anyway, the 90s.
Let's take a step back to the locker room really quick.
Yes, please. Oh, yes, please.
There are towels, dirty, dirty towels everywhere.
Oh, that's not what I thought you were going to say.
They're all over the benches. They're all over the floor. We got a nice clear view of them before
the beautiful, wonderful heart of my hearts, Cordelia. This is like quintessential Cordelia scene. It's quintessential scene where like the hairs stand up on my arms because I'm so excited about her moment here where she is the worst.
So mean.
She just, can you write me a song about Cordelia is what I want to know. Like, I feel like my love for her is powerful enough. Can you?
You want like every time we start waxing poetic about Cordelia, you want us to have a song to indicate that that's about to start happening?
I want it more than anything.
I think that I can do that for you.
Yes! Okay.
By next episode.
All right. So episode 4, you heard it here first, folks.
There will be
a Cordelia loves Kristin song, or Kristin loves Cordelia.
Yeah, I mean, let's not assume.
Well, wait. We're just going to take her a
feelings.
couple seasons to love me back, but
Yes.
that's fine. So Cordelia has her mean girl moment here, which they, of course, set up. I mean, I think they set this up because you have a moment, like a Scooby-Doo episode where you think everybody's the witch. So you're like, oh, maybe Cordelia. We've only known her for 2 episodes. Maybe she's got something up her sleeve here. But no, she's just a mean girl. That's fine. Can we talk about how Willow chews a fucking pen?
Oh, but also, like, it's so gross to think about, but also, how much did you chew a pen in high school?
Yeah, but see, that's what I think is that I don't think that Willow, or what's the actress's name?
Allison Hannigan.
Allison Hannigan. I don't think Allison Hannigan ever chewed a pen in her life.
Oh, you're saying like it's not believable pen chewing?
I am going to do my best to get us a GIF. And if I can't get this up, can somebody please make a GIF of this piece of this episode with her chewing on this pen? She has like the whole pen in her mouth. It's not a normal, like I chewed every pen always, but you just chew the tip of but you don't put the whole pen in your mouth.
Well, maybe you got to you're really working on it. You need to get it into your molars where you have the most pressure.
Maybe if you're like sitting down, I don't know. I just felt like
you weren't buying it.
No, but I was buying it in terms of it making me very amused. But I wasn't buying it as believable. Also, before we get too far past the moment in which Cordelia goes blind, I didn't have driver's ed in high school.
Oh, I did.
Did your instructor not have a brake in the car?
Well, here's the thing. I remember always hearing about that. I can't precisely remember if they had their own brake.
They have to have their own brake.
But I remember this very specific instance where I really scared him.
Uh-huh.
And I feel like he was scared enough that he would have gotten involved if he had his own break.
And he didn't.
No.
I just think that, let us know if you had driver's ed, if they didn't have a break. It doesn't make any sense. These people don't have licenses yet. You have to be able to stop the car in a situation where, for example, witch casts a spell on them and they can't control the car themselves. Right. You have to be prepared for these things.
Sudden and unexpected blindness.
Yeah. So anyway, I was shocked at that, but onwards and upwards.
And then once Cordelia is blind and Buffy is receiving a glass of water to help soothe her nerves.
Yeah.
Giles is so stoked.
Again.
He's so pumped.
He's
just like Sherlock Holmes. He's like, set it up and I'll try to knock it down. I love a supernatural mystery. Give me more. And then he's like, why would someone want to harm Cordelia? And Willow, precious sweet Willow.
Oh, right.
Is like, maybe they met her.
Aww.
Which is like Willow's version of a burn about which she immediately repents and feels terrible. It's so sweet.
Also, Sweet Willow, no big deal, but Sweet Willow takes that scalpel right out of Xander's hand to get that eye of Newt out of there.
Yeah, no problem.
Not an issue for the ladies. And
No,
Can I talk about the ladies in this episode?
Please.
For a second, because where I wrote down, I took notes on how many times Buffy uses very large words in this episode. Because I started with matricide, that she says matricide instead of like, I want to kill my mom. And so then I was like writing them down because this show, in a lot of ways, right? Like I just said, Willow being like, I have it, Xander. I'll take the eye out of the frog. Is the newt the same as a frog?
Well, I think they're subbing a frog's eyes for
that's a
newt
on the kitchen substitution chart.
Yes, they're more or less equivalent.
Okay, but yeah, then later she comes home to Joyce and she says that school was a reverent joy. Later in that same scene, she says the word platitudes.
Oh, yeah.
And then at the end of the episode, she also like fills in for Joyce that what she probably means to be saying is inscrutable. So she's got like, I mean, the thing is that Buffy's very smart. But what I love about this intelligence is that it's not just like Buffy's the smart girl. It's like Buffy is a cheerleader and she's also like, she really wants to be a cheerleader and she's also very smart. She also slays vampires, sidebar. But like, there's this combination of characteristics in women in this show that are really powerful. And you see it with Joyce too, right? That Joyce isn't just like a mom, which P.S. I did air quotes because like nobody is just a mom. Like there's depth to character. And we see Joyce in the kitchen, this like, unpacking her art exhibit stuff.
Yeah. She's like running an art gallery.
Yeah.
Woman of the world.
Doesn't even have time to be a mom, actually, in this episode. Joyce, what happened to Joyce in this episode?
I don't know. It's a rough parenting episode, but it's also a rough daughtering episode. There's not a lot of understanding passing between them until the very end of the episode. They're kind of like two ships in the night. One of them is reaching out and the other one's not having it, and back and forth throughout the episode. And
that's, to touch on the larger theme of the episode, we have Amy and her mom, which is the major plot point here with, spoiler alert, body switch over here, because her mom wants to live her life. She wants her to be just like her, or worse, she wants to be her. But then Joyce, we have a scene between Buffy and Joyce where Joyce is talking about how Buffy should join the yearbook staff.
Joyce really has no idea that yearbook is for nerds. Yearbook is clearly for nerds, Joyce. Just kidding if anybody who's listening was on yearbook.
I was on yearbook.
Then I stand by my comment. Yearbooks for nerds.
Okay, so Joyce wants her to join the yearbook staff. And Buffy says something as she leaves that's like, I'm not you, okay? So like back off, I'm never gonna be you. So that's like a big thing in here as like parents and how they want their kids to be just like them. The pressure, Buffy says many times in this, she says to Giles, like, maybe you don't understand the pressure of what it feels like to have to live up to the expectations that your parents set for you.
Yeah.
And because we're in fantasy world here, we get to see this actually happen with this body switch.
Right. As opposed to the normal parents living through their kids vicariously thing that we get to see in regular life.
Right, which just kills them slowly
Instead of
all
fast.
instead of all at once. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I and that's what I love about, I mean, you know, talking about anything that's set in a fantasy space like this. Not that I don't believe in vampires and witches. I do.
Of course.
That's the genre. It's just called fantasy. But, you know, when you set something in a fantasy realm, you kind of don't have to mess with all this subtlety and nuance. You can just lay it out and really dig into these themes in fun ways that you can't do when you're not in fantasy land. So
Yeah.
all the thumbs up for that.
Absolutely.
Right? Well, my notes fell away. They just fell right away. I have so many of them.
So many notes.
So many notes.
Do you have a note about Buffy's extreme doily pillowcase?
I do not.
It looks very uncomfortable for sleeping. It is a extremely three-dimensional pillowcase.
Oh, well, that's also very 90s of that pillowcase.
Bumpy as fuck.
Bumpy as fuck, yeah. But beautiful. Beautiful and, you know, and also lots of pillows, right? She doesn't just have one.
No, many pillows. So Buffy wakes up on that pillowcase and she's spell drunk.
Oh, right.
She's singing Macho Macho Man. She seems pretty wasted.
She tells Joyce she's a vampire slayer.
Yes.
Because she is very drunk. On this spell that the witch has cast, which is going to kill her.
Yeah, and she's so pumped because she's going to her first day as an actual on-the-squad cheerleader. And this is where I learn something about myself.
Oh.
Which is, so they're rehearsing, and that whistle song is playing that's like, and every lady is dancing in a synchronized fashion, and it makes me so uncomfortable. I was just sitting on the couch just next to you, but I was like so embarrassed.
Interesting.
There's like way too much dramatic shoulder movement.
For the listener,
and the
Jenny is
hips.
doing dramatic shoulder movements while talking about shoulder movements.
Well, it's important for you to know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And so I don't know what that means about me, but like
That's your kryptonite?
I think
If anyone needs to beat you in battle, they can just hit play on on synchronized dancing women.
Yeah, but I hope they choose not to.
Yeah, seriously. And Giles, like, to transition from cheerleading to Buffy being, because in this scene where Buffy's cheerleading, all of a sudden she throws a girl across the room.
Oh yeah,
because she doesn't know her own strength because she's drunk, and we never hear about that girl. Hope she's all right. But then immediately she sort of collapses right after this.
Right.
And Giles knows what's up because
before she collapses,
before she collapses,
on their way to Giles,
yes.
She has this fantastic moment where earlier in the episode, Xander has caused Willow pain by informing her that she's like one of the guys. And that breaks all of our hearts because nobody wants to see Willow get hurt.
No.
Nobody wants to see Willow in danger. Nobody wants to see Willow's feelings get hurt. And
isn't that like, I feel like I've heard you talk about the fact that that's an intentional thing that Joss does.
That's something that they play on heavily throughout the series. It's a guaranteed emotional payoff.
Yeah, because everybody wants to protect Willow.
So Xander tells her that she's one of the guys. And then in this scene, drunk Buffy says to Xander that he's just like one of the girls.
Yep.
And he's so bummed. And I'm like, ha!
Yeah.
Ha!
You are not bummed.
I am the opposite of bummed.
Yeah, an eye for an eye. I almost, what I wanted to say was an eye for an eye, patriarchy, but we already said our patriarchy.
Only one patriarchy per episode,
you'll have to
Kristen.
bleep that out. Cool. Right. And so Buffy is like really struggling here, and Giles This like puts Giles, because Giles is just gleeful, as we've discussed through the rest of the episode, through the first part of this episode when everybody else is struggling. But the minute that Buffy is in peril, he gets really protective.
He's no longer fucking with it.
No, when they go to the mother's house.
Oh man, he's so serious and so in charge.
What I wrote down, you will shut up and listen to me.
Woo!
And now like
so un-British.
Coming from Giles, he's very proper and takes great pains to keep himself composed.
Yeah.
He's like throwing down.
Yeah.
What do you have something else to say?
Oh, I just wanted to say right before that, when we see them roll up to the Madison home, we saw Giles' car for the first time, and you may not know it yet, but you're going to see that car a bunch more times.
Oh, I don't remember seeing it.
It's just like a junky old beat up British jalopy type car.
God, I can't wait till we start seeing Giles' coffee cup. Oh, the little green one? Yes.
Yeah,
love that little
love
green.
that cup.
I want
that cup
yes.
so bad. If CW.com or whatever sold that mug, I would buy a setup so fast.
Right? Instead, they probably sell a black mug with text that says Buffy.
The logo. Yeah. If anybody out there is like a production designer or prop sourcer or whatever, if anybody knows where I can find that green mug that Giles drinks out of, and you let me know, I will do something very special for you. I don't know what it is.
Sounds like there's a green mug song in your future.
Yes. A green mug song for a green mug, I say. Most definitely.
I got the chills with the body switch reveal while watching it. I really did. I like when she says Amy, when Buffy says Amy, because by the way, Buffy is dying, but she's still on the case. She's like, she looks at the brownies and then she like hears Amy sort of like stutter in speech as she tries to pretend to be the mother. And the body switch is revealed. And I was like, this was, as you know, I haven't seen these episodes before, or at least I haven't seen them since 1997. So, so I knew that something was up, but I didn't understand. And so it was a reveal for me. And also, wow. And also this actress.
Robin Riker. Amazing casting. She crushes.
My God. She's amazing. Like, is she in things now and forever? Is she like a theater actor? She's phenomenal. Especially because of the switch. Like, she was great as like playing Amy in the mom's body. But then when this body switch undoes itself and she goes from that to the witch.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah, it's very well executed, amazing switch.
Unbelievable, yeah. I was like super into it and super into her. But also a note that I made during this scene was there's so much chit chat happening. Like, Mom Amy is having all this time to be like, and then when she would do this, and I'm like, you guys, Buffy has like, find the book. Like, get up and ask the questions. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, that was an odd pacing choice. Like, have that conversation in the car after you find the book.
Right? But then, luckily, in that chit-chat, it is revealed that there's a room upstairs that she keeps herself locked in. So they go up there. The cat jumps out.
Yeah.
They get the book. They go to the school. And here we are.
Whew. And then at the school.
Yes. So sad, Jenny.
Not sad, just uncomfortable because
the
game is beginning and the cheerleaders are dancing. And I don't like it. And I wish they would stop. And also, such a big deal was made about the caliber of cheerleader required for this squad and the training. And we got to practice hard because the game is tonight. And then do you know what they were practicing for? Go, Sunnydale, go. Go, Sunnydale, go. Go, Sunnydale, go. 6, 7, 8. Go, Sunnydale, go. Go, Sunnydale, go. Go, Sunnydale, go. 6, 7, 8. Repeat.
They do.
That is the thing that they needed to fine tune.
Well, plus they're dancing, they're cheering. Yeah. Also, I just want you to know that because you pointed that out to me during the episode itself, I did become more attuned to what they were saying, and I want to let you know that not only do they do that, but then later on, as things are building and the spells being cast, they cut back to the cheerleaders, and they've stopped saying words altogether. They're just counting.
Yes, there is a segment where they're just counting.
They're just counting,
y'all.
But everyone's into it. Everybody's super into it.
I guess so.
Yeah, and so then, right. There's a moment that happens here because this is a very frantic scene. You've got, them all in the room trying to get this spell to unswitch the bodies and to undo Cordelia's blindness, wherever she is, by the way. Right. Not on the cheerleading team because she doesn't have eyes. No. And we're seeing the game and it's all very loud and whatever. And then they start seeing each other's visions, the mom and Amy. And the witch realizes this and falls, first of all, off of the cheerleading pyramid, but then leaves the room. And here come the Slayerettes.
Yay!
Go Slayerettes, go. There's a cheer. But this is this really, I don't know, dichotomous. Is that a word? This is a moment that has a lot of dichotomy in it. Is that better?
Duality?
You can just say it has dichotomy. There is.
I don't know.
There's a dichotomy between. Is that better for you?
I think so.
Live grammar check on air. There's just this huge dichotomy between the way that the witch deals with Xander and then deals with Willow.
Yeah.
She conjures all of this magic to grab Xander's neck without...
And
squeeze it and throw him to the floor without touching him. And you're like, wow, look at this witch. She's
so much magic.
So much magic. And then she turns around and just boom, Willow in the side of the face, knocks her to the ground.
Pretty great.
Pretty great. And I think that a lot of, without getting too ahead of ourselves here, there's a lot of that in the demons and monsters of Sunnydale, right? They're never just one thing.
No, they're monstrous and they're human.
Yeah.
And those things mix together to varied and delightful results.
Yeah, and that was a delightful moment.
Yes. Also, how about Willow's distraction technique? I could help you, with your witchcraft. I know this really good cauldron. Pretty great.
Yeah, I didn't see that coming. I thought she was going to pretend to be, I thought she was going to be I could help you with your homework for science. I didn't think she was going to reveal. Anyway, then down Willow goes. And then, there's a lot to talk about in this scene. So I don't know how many, the witch confrontation scene. Because the witch is trying to hack down the door. Giles is plunging his body parts into liquid.
Magic liquid.
I mean, Giles
he's all in.
And that I think is really important, and we'll see that develop more and more as the series goes on. But, Giles is just this really paternal, protective figure to Buffy and just cares about her way past just being her watcher. Definitely just wants to take care of her and make sure she's safe. And he puts his jacket under her head in this scene. And, he's putting himself, he's trying things he says he's never done. He's never cast a spell before. This is the first time he's doing it. And it isn't until, I feel, it's not until he needs it the most that it is effective, right? The witch is in the room and she's about to die and he screams. I don't remember the words that he screams, but he's saying
release the unworthy.
Oh, thank goodness for you and your attention to detail. But yeah, he has said release the unworthy so many times to no avail. And then
he really means it.
And that's the thing about magic, you got to really mean it. I'm serious. Anyway.
So
here we are.
Bodies get switched back to their appropriate owner minds.
No one thinks about the fact that when the bodies switch back, that means a witch will be in the room still.
But I mean, there's a lot more important pressing things to think about, like Buffy's gonna die. So
right, I guess. But I hope they take some notes on these incidents so that in the future, when they're doing a body switch, they know, hey, that still means the witch is here. We should probably have some way to deal with her. I thought, by the way, that the witch was gonna get beheaded.
Yeah, I think 3 episodes into the series might be a little early for a beheading, given the time.
I guess they planted the seed,
Totally, and maybe we'll get to see some witches get beheaded later on in the series, but I feel like they couldn't go there quite yet. Interesting moments in the fight situation. I just want to say, Has there ever been anything better than Buffy the Vampire Slayer getting thrown into the periodic table of the elements?
Nothing
so
better.
Great.
Oh, that was so good.
I want to get thrown into the periodic table of the elements.
Okay, can I make a request for the song this week?
Yes.
Can you please include being thrown into the periodic table of elements in your
periodic table of the elements? That is so many syllables. I will try.
No, come on.
I'll do my best.
Okay.
Yes, I'll make it happen.
Yes. It deserves to be in there. That's a great thing. I like that moment too. And then just like in the gym with this, when she knew that a flag was hanging behind her, Buffy knows that, like, she sees the mirror.
Yeah.
She does all the reasoning that needs to be done in the time that it takes for the witch to cast this horrible spell, kicks the mirror down, and blammo.
Yeah, she's got total situational awareness, just like Archer.
Also, she has, just like Archer. Yeah, she really does. She's on it. But she's so on it that she can even make jokes.
She's got time to quip.
She does. She always has time to quip, that Buffy. She says, guess what? I feel better, before she starts fighting back. And you're like, hell yeah. She's got all the time in the world. Buffy's like, whatever, and now you're going to die. So,
snappy.
Although I guess she didn't die, the witch.
Okay, so, I shall look upon my enemy, and the dark place shall have her soul, saith the witch.
Oh my God.
That is the spell that gets reflected back at the witch, and what takes her away. So, apparently the dark place is the inside of a cheerleading trophy?
Well, maybe
it's personalized.
Yes.
Like the place you least want to be trapped, or like the most painful place for you to be trapped, because like it's sort of like the symbol of her lost youth and her glory days. That is all she wants. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm on board.
And she has to look out at high school every
single day.
Without being able to participate in it. So I do think that it is customized.
Okay, so what have we not talked about in this episode? What's left?
Well, I mean, that's an open question. We could do a 6-hour episode on every episode if we wanted to. But there's just a couple things that I want to touch on that are small before we wrap up. One is, I mentioned there was a moment that Willow had that I really, really loved as the Slayerette that she is. And this is the moment. So she gets punched in the face by the witch down. And it's a punch. If you go back and you watch that punch, she really right hooks her or something.
That sounded really good.
I don't know how you call punches. But so she goes down and not that long later, in rushes Willow with a fucking baseball bat.
Ready to tango.
Ready to go again. And so does Xander too. I just Willow, I was even more impressed with because she had just gotten slugged in the face.
Yeah.
And was like, I'm back ready for more. I'm here. Where is Buffy? We need to make sure she's okay because we are the Slayerettes.
Yeah. Hella stick-to-itiveness.
Yeah. So that was
pretty great.
That was the thing that I just wanted to touch on. And then last but never least, Cordelia's back at the end. and my note was, Cordelia, what about your eyes? LOL. She's like back on the team, right? Doesn't she say she's back on the team?
Yeah.
So sorry that Amy and Buffy are off the team again. And there's no mention of the fact that she crashed a car, went blind.
Right. Well, there's a certain amount of ongoing denial required if you're going to be a resident of Sunnydale.
Yeah. At the Hellmouth. But yeah, just Cordy, ready to go, ready to do her cheers again.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, no, I like this episode. I think, and Jenny and I have talked about this a little bit off screen. What do you call it when it's a podcast?
Off air.
Off air. I'm new to this podcast thing. Off air, we've talked a little bit about this episode because I feel there are a lot of touchstones missing. We mentioned at the beginning, we don't have the bronze, we don't have Angel, there's no vampires.
Yeah.
For one. And so there's a different energy to this episode, I think, than others. And so, I felt a little bit how are we gonna go into this one? What do we talk about? And how do we tackle it? And I think, we'll have, I'm sure, more episodes like that are sort of different in all these different little ways. But yeah, I thought it was a really good episode.
Yeah. Super fun. So fun.
Super fun. What do you call that stuff in the cauldron?
Slime?
Slime, super fun
Stew?
slime, super fun doll stew, super fun dried herbs. We got
So much body switching.
So yeah, and the body switching was pretty serious. And now we know forever that witch is. I guess that witch just lives in Sunnydale High School
In the trophy case.
in the trophy case. Yeah,
Wow.
cool.
Well,
On that note,
I think that's everything. I'm Jenny Owen Youngs, and it's been my pleasure to serve you this evening. You can find me on Twitter at Jenny Owen Youngs.
and I'm Kristin Russo. And if you're listening to this not in the evening, it's been my pleasure to serve you at any time of day. You can find me on Twitter at Kristin Noeline, which is so hard to spell. It is KristinNoeline, or just at Everyone is Gay. And if you're looking to follow us as a duo in the Buffy form, you can follow us on Twitter at BufferingCast, or you can find us on Facebook at /BufferingCast.
Wow. Oh my gosh. We can't wait to talk to you more next week. But between now and then, if you really miss us, it would be so swell if you could leave us a review on iTunes. That would help more people like you who like things like you do to find this podcast. And we'll expand our world and build our community and be so beautiful.
It's going to be great.
Yeah.
Can't wait for episode 4.
Me neither. Till then.
Ooh.
Well, it's tryouts week and I'm so excited. I'd really like to lead some cheers, but the competition is super tight and things are getting pretty weird. Spontaneous human combustion occurred, much to Giles' delight. If Cordelia can't see her own face in the mirror, what is the point of life? In an attic there's a cauldron full of something green, and whoever's doing magic has it in for me. Yeah, everybody knows that Amy's mom is a total better watch out for that witch. Watch out for that witch. Better watch out for that witch. Watch out for that witch. Now I'm hella hexed and I'm feeling wasted. Soon I could be feeling dead. Sometimes the only way forward's getting thrown into the periodic table of the elements. I'll kick down a mirror reflecting her own spell right back in her witch face. But she will remain forever and always trapped in a trophy case. And I really can't get that mad at her, 'cause I also wanna be a cheerleader. But everybody knows it's rude to perform a body switch. You gotta watch out for that witch. Watch out for that witch. Watch out for that witch. Watch out for that witch.
Dana Schwartz, and this is Rise or Die, the official companion podcast for Peacock's original series, Those About to Die. On this podcast, I go behind the scenes with the show's cast and creators to learn how they brought their brutal vision of Rome to life.
Gosh, people will freak out.
Rise or Die launches on July 18th. Watch or listen wherever you get your podcasts.
Welcome to the small town of Chinook, where faith runs deep and secrets run deeper. In this new thriller, religion and crime collide when a gruesome murder rocks the isolated Montana community. Everyone is quick to point their fingers at a drug-addicted teenager, but local deputy Ruth Vogel isn't convinced. She suspects connections to a powerful religious group. Enter federal agent V.B. Lauro, who has been investigating a local church for possible criminal activity. The pair form an unlikely partnership to catch the killer, unearthing secrets that leave Ruth torn between her duty to the law, her religious convictions, and her very own family. But something more sinister than murder is afoot, and someone is watching Ruth.
Chinook, starring Kelly Marie Tran and Sanaa Lathan. Listen to Chinook wherever you get your podcasts.